They know every nook and cranny of the African Quarter, a neighborhood whose name has gone unchanged since its construction before the First World War. For years now, Christian Kopp and Nyakasuru have fought to rename its streets. They still bear the names of old German colonies and their governors.
These people were not only responsible for conquering and establishing the colonies, but directly responsible for the various crimes that were committed in them.
There's Luderitz, Nachtigall, and Karl Peters, the German imperial governor who crushed the Maji Maji rebellion in Africa. Among its victims in modern-day Tanzania were members of Nyakasuru family.
Karl Peters was so brutal that he was nicknamed Bloody Hands. When I think of this brutality, and that there is now a street actually honouring him, I find it unacceptable.
Thanks to a neighbourhood vote, the name change should take place in a few months. A victory for these activists whose main objective is to put an end to what they call colonial amnesia. Germany has worked very hard to examine its conscience after the Second World War, but is only now really looking at this other part of its history. First in line are museums. Faces of slaves still adorn the facade of this Stuttgart Ethnological Museum, but inside, since 2 years back, they're digging into the archives.
There are studies on construction materials, on the architecture of the colonies, and obviously anthropological studies.
The museum employs 2 researchers to look into the origin of the collections.
It's serious work. We analyze and translate all the letters and documents that are here.
The hard work is paying off. 90% of the collection was gathered in the colonial era. To shed light on its provenance, the museum is organizing a new African exhibition and plans to restitute objects when possible. Late February will bring a first, when a Bible and a whip taken from Hendrik Witbooi, a Nama chief and national hero, go back to Namibia. It's a big change for Germany. The museum director hopes it's just the beginning.
The colonial era is largely absent in our towns. There is no museum devoted to colonialism and this period of history. But you can sense a new awareness now. And I would like it if this discussion about restitution wasn't only taking place in museums. It should be a matter of broader public debate. The German public at large doesn't know much about the 30-year period of occupation, pillaging and extermination.
But under pressure from the Namibian government and activists, Berlin is preparing to formally apologize for the genocide of the Herero and Nama peoples in Namibia. Still, for German MP Ottmar von Holtz, born in Namibia when it was still a colony, more must be done.
This subject has to be talked about in schools, or not only in history class. We have no monuments or special places for remembrance. But we need them in order for future generations to talk about what happened, so that it becomes part of our collective memory.
100 years after the end of its empire, a little-known other dark chapter of Germany's past is coming to light. Estimates put the number of killed at 300,000.